Hey Rita, so you were asking about the difference between a 6 string and a 12 string and whether I would have to relearn how to play the guitar. The truth is, yeah, in some ways I have to learn new things because the instrument is a little bit different. There are more strings, uh, but I don't have to learn really how to play the guitar again. The 12 string basically is a 6 string with each string doubled up. And let me explain. First of all, how that makes a 12 string sound different, and also some songs really need to be played on a 12 string. They don't work very well on a 6 string. So let me explain that. So let's start by having a look at the 6 string guitar a little more carefully. By the way, the objective of these recordings in this video is to help you understand the difference between 16 and 12 strings, okay? It is not to show off my beautiful guitars, just to let you know. So here's a 6 string guitar. This is actually a beautiful guitar. It's a Washburn. It's a parlor guitar. I'll tell you all about those later. But if you look at the strings on the bottom, so we start counting the strings from the bottom. The one on the bottom, very bottom, is 1, and as you go up, it's 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 is the real bass one up at the top. So if you have a look at the 2 strings at the bottom, the first 2 strings, strings 1 and 2, they're made of solid nickel. So it's just one strand of nickel. The other ones are a different color. You can see they're like yellow, kind of a yellowish, orangish color. It's the nickel core, and then there's this brass wound all around it. Those are heavier strings. Okay, now look at the 12 string. You see how the strings are doubled? It's the same 6 strings. They're just doubled. But if you look at the first 2 strings, they're just exactly identical. They just each one got another one identical like itself, the first and the second string. But where the 3rd string is where it gets really interesting, because now these lower strings, 3, 4, 5, and 6 that are brass wound, they each got a high ringy string. It's the same note, but 1 octave higher and ringier. Okay, so let's see how they sound differently. How does this arrangement make them sound differently? So here's a D, an open D note chord on a 6 string. It's a D chord on a 6 string. And here's the same open D chord on a 12 string. Okay, so it's fuller, it's more twangy, and that's more clanky. Okay, so now that's how they're different. That's construction wise, that's how the 12 string is set up and so on. Now here's where it gets interesting. Some songs really don't do very well with 6 string guitars. They're played better with 12 string, and vice versa also. So a good example of that is a song by Paul Simon called For Emily Whenever I May Find Her. Now, you can play that on the 6 string guitar, but it's not going to work very well. Let's have a look at the 6 string guitar. The strings that the introduction uses, it's a beautiful digilado in the introduction. The strings are the 1, the 3, and the 4. Now if you look at the 6 string guitar, the 1 is a very ringy string. It's the solid nickel. It's string number 1. It's the highest ringiest string on the guitar. 3 and 4 is already in the top half, or the bottom half, you could say, because 4, 5, and 6 are the lower sounds. And 3 is in the middle. So 3 and 4 are kind of close together, but 1 is not really in the same club. And you hear that in the quality of the sound. So when you hear that digilado, aquela progressão, the notes progression in no digilado da introdução, the emphasis ends up being in the wrong place. Your mind makes a separation between the 2 types of notes, the 2 different qualities, and that's resolved in the 12 string, as I will show you. But let me show you first what it sounds like on the 6 string. 12 string. Much better on the 12 string, right? Because of that more metallic, more twangy string that was added to the brass wound ones, they became closer to the quality of the sound of the first. And so that progression, that back and forth, works very nicely and seems much more cohesive. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation of the difference between 16 and 12 string guitars, and will join us next time for our next episode when we will talk about something else.